spotlight.
You know. Uh-oh. We'll see. No, I didn't. I read all the others.
Oh, it's time. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I hereby call this meeting to order. I would like to thank today's presenters, our student representatives for being here, everyone joining us in person and on Facebook Live. And the Daniel Wolf will lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Daniel. All of our board members are in attendance. There are a couple addenda items that which include the additional information on media report and community relations update, a Head Start program budget carryover and non-federal share waiver request, camp request, Westmark Credit Union sponsorship agreement, comprehensive annual financial audit report and certification of annual statement of financial condition, proposed ESSER 3 budget, and the board calendar. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addenda.
I move that we approve the agenda with the addenda.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing all in the positive, that motion is passed. Now on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Those minutes include work session and special meeting for action and executive session on real property and pending litigation. That was on September 14th, 2021. A regular board meeting on September 21st, 2021. And a special meeting to review opening meeting law complaints, September 24th, 2021. Okay, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes as corrected.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which includes the authorizing the payment of claims, approving the supplemental financial information, and approving the amended human resource activity. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. Next on the agenda is recognitions, which will be presented by Courtney Fisher.
Handheld tonight? Need to turn off though, without two? Do you know how to do it? A little technically inept here. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, trustees, Dr. Howell, Ms. Johnson, and welcome student representatives. I have the pleasure monthly during the school year to present awards and recognitions. And as you can see, we have a full house tonight. So tonight we'll be recognizing several individuals who through their actions support and embody the district's mission to think more, learn more, and be more together. So first up is the Cake Awards for October. This is our first recognition of the year with this award. Our district believes that a safe, supportive, caring, and respectful environment is critical to student learning. The School District 25 Education Foundation, in partnership with McDonald's, supports the Learner of the Month Award to recognize one elementary learner and one secondary learner from our district from October through May. The Cake Award celebrates positive character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement toward others. In addition to being recognized here at our monthly board meetings, the recipients also receive cupcakes delivered to their classrooms. Actually, this year we switched it up a little bit. We're doing something even extra special with a cupcake kit and then other special treats for their class to be enjoyed among their peers. We feel like that's a really important element of this award. Nominations for the Cake Award are submitted by a teacher who has observed the nominee's behavior and are approved by the school's principal. So first up is Miss Tilly Lamb here. And Tilly, is your teacher, Miss Natalie Jones, here also? Okay, I believe that Natalie was unable to be here tonight, so you are welcome to bring one of your parents or guardians up here with you. I was worried you might be a little shy, but you're not shy. I'll come right over here. Hi, how are you? I'm Courtney. It's so nice to meet you. So if you want to just stand right here, I'm going to read a little bit about you. Is that okay? Okay, so Miss Tilly Lamb.
Have her come out
Can you stand
front.
here so our board members can congratulate you? Awesome. So Tilly is a pre-K learner at Lincoln Early Childhood Center, and this is my first time with the privilege of recognizing one of our pre-K learners. In her nomination letter, Mrs. Wood, who's Tilly's teacher, wrote, "This is my second year as Tilly's teacher, and she continues to impress me every day. She consistently shows kindness, empathy, and leadership to her peers throughout the school day. She is always willing to lend a helping hand to her teachers and classmates. She consistently demonstrates good friendship skills, sharing and inviting others to play with her, and not getting upset with friends who are still learning these skills. Tilly will take a friend by the hand and help them, offer toys, or offer a smile to those who need one. She models outstanding character traits to her peers. She demonstrates a positive attitude and is ready to learn, try new things, and persist when things are tough, So Tilly, I'm gonna give you this certificate right here that you can take home, and then we'll be visiting your classroom this week with some special treats, okay? And in addition to being recognized tonight, you're going to receive a gift card, both you and your teacher, from McDonald's, and also a $50 donation to purchase books in your name for your school's library, also courtesy of Pocatello McDonald's. So please help me join me in congratulating Tilly for being named our Learner of the Month. And Tilly, if you would like to go and greet our board members along, is this Dad? Dad, maybe go through the line so our board members can congratulate Tilly on this award.
Congratulations.
Yeah, this one is good job.
Congratulations.
Thank you for being such an exemplary model for our district and our learners, Tilly. Now you can see why this is the highlight of my job. Okay, is Mr. Josh Orr and Miss Jody Diaz here? I'd like to welcome you to the podium. Is Josh here? Josh isn't here? Okay, well, I'll just tell you a little bit about Josh. Are you Mrs. Diaz? I am. Okay, do you want to join me? And I'll just give you. So Mrs. Diaz nominated Josh Orr, who is an 8th grade student at Alameda Middle School. And she wrote about Josh, "He is the definition of a leader. He is always doing the right thing, even when he thinks no one is watching. Learning the class warm-up in PE came easy for Josh. While we were going through the steps slowly to help everyone learn, Josh took it upon himself to take a kid who was struggling with the coordination of the movement and help him one-on-one. He saw someone who needed some help and encouragement, and he jumped right in to help without anyone having to ask him to do it, because that's the kind of student Josh is. I do not know a single person in the school who does not like Josh. He is kind to everyone and makes sure everyone is having fun in PE and feels included. I do not think I have ever seen Josh without a smile. He knows how to have fun and not take things too seriously. It is fun to be around." So Josh, in addition to Tilly, will be recognized among his peers with a treat for everyone in his class. and you and Josh will both receive a gift card from McDonald's, as well as a $50 donation to your library in Josh's name. So if you will go through and say hello to our board, thank you for the nomination and being, our teachers model that great kindness for our learners, and thank you for recognizing that in Josh and being here tonight. Okay, next up we have our October Employee of the Month, or PIES Award. The Employee of the Month PIES Award recognizes our employees who positively influence educational success. The award is for employees who go above and beyond in that effort, and Lookout Credit Union partners with us in providing this award. So tonight we are recognizing Mrs. Marianne Richardson, and I would like to invite Marianne, Mrs. Richardson, and Mrs. Campos up to the podium. Mrs. Campos, who is the school principal at Wilcox, nominated Mrs. Richardson, and she is the office administrator at Wilcox Elementary School. And in her nomination letter, Mrs. Campos wrote, "The office is the busiest place in the school, we all know that. And Marianne stays cool and collected no matter what is happening. She can answer the phone, take care of the ringing doorbell, listen to a teacher's concerns, and get a student a Band-Aid all at once without blinking an eye. I don't believe there is anything Marianne can't do. She always shows genuine care and concern for every child that comes to the office for any need. She develops positive relationships with parents and greets them by name. In stressful situations, her calming voice helps reassure everyone. Marianne has an organized system for every procedure at school. Teachers need only to ask, and Marianne has a solution or idea that will streamline a task or make things easier for a classroom to run efficiently. She is the heart of the school and makes our school run smoothly. Marianne rarely takes a lunch and often stays late to ensure that everything is ready and in order for the coming school day. Wilcox Tiger Pride shines through Marianne Richardson." So Marianne, you will be receiving a $50 gift card from our educational partner, Lookout Credit Union. And Mrs. Campos, you will also receive a $20 gift card from Lookout for the nomination. And we have this certificate for you. Congratulations. And please join me in congratulating. Congratulate you. Thank you for being here tonight.
Congratulations. I agree. Secretaries are great. Thank you for doing that. Oh,
Good. No, that's okay. So look who we found. We found Mr. Orr. This is Josh Orr. So as you know, Josh is an 8th grader at Alameda. And Josh, thank you so much. Did you hear what you were winning tonight?
I came for the cake award.
You came for the cake award. You sure did. So we're going to be delivering some treats to your classroom for you. And you also get a $50 gift card from McDonald's, as well as your teacher who nominated you. And $50 donation for you to purchase books in your name for your library.
Awesome.
So do you want to shake our board's hand really
Sure.
quick?
good job. Good job.
And Josh, we'll share a copy of the letter with you, okay? Thanks for being a good example. All right, helps us congratulate Josh. Thank you. Okay, we have one more recognition this evening. I have invited Mrs. Marcy Kerr along with the following learners from the Thunder Debate Team Leadership at Pocatello High School. We have Mrs. Kerr, Speech and Debate President Allison Buchanan. Come on up, you guys. Debate Captain Daniel Wolf, Speech Captain Cadence Williams, and Secretary Brooklyn Jorgensen. And I think there is even more of you that are not on my list. So will you, and Walker Kerr is also here. And who? And Ty Scarity. Okay, so we are really excited to share this information with you. Pocatello High School has earned the 2020-2021 Leading Chapter Award in the Idaho Mountain River District, a coveted honor based on student participation. This accolade is the highest recognition schools can earn from the National Speech and Debate Association. Out of more than 3,000 members for schools nationwide, Pocatello High School is one of only 108 to receive the Leading Chapter Award. It's really impressive. As stated in the letter, this award serves as an indication of Mrs. Kerr's relentless dedication to these students and to speech and debate education. Your efforts truly embody our mission to empower youth. Congratulations on this remarkable achievement. So thank you all for being here. And I know debate, Allison, Daniel, and I don't have certificates for all of you, but I will make more. Cadence and Brooklyn. And I know debate season is coming up, so best of luck to you as that competition season starts. And if you'll also say hello so our board can congratulate you, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Congratulations. Hey, way to go. Congratulations. Great. Congratulations. Good job. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Good work.
You're getting out. Oops, sorry.
And that concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is time for public comment on topics not pertinent to agenda items, action items. Okay, and we have one request, and it's from Mr. Robert Adling. And you have 5 minutes, sir. Sit up front, you can stand up. Yes, be perfect. And can you state your name and address, please?
Okay, so the name is Robert Adling, A-D-L-I-N-G. Address is 5405 Stewart Avenue in Riverside, California. So we got the clock right there? Okay, we'll go with that. So sometimes I ask myself, why am I here? And so most part, I've been in and out of education, taught at the university, taught at community college, taught at high school, even substituted in the district. And so, but I've gotten to know a few of you. I've met Mr. Howe. And so as I think about the current things that we face today, I had some concerns. And one of the concern is the mask mandate and sometimes the COVID vaccine mandate. And so what I've come across and what I've learned is the Nuremberg trials kind of dealt very much with that type of thing, in that they had human experimentation and mass murder. And so they had trials as a result of it, and we know a lot about World War II. But what we learned from that is, can we be held accountable for some of the decisions we make? And those decisions sometimes are made without being aware of different things that we face. So are we, sometimes as we make those decisions, are we acting as medical professionals? Are we practicing medicine? And can we be tried for crimes, what they considered at that time war crimes? We don't really hear much about this. And so what I'm finding is, I do come from a different area, and I was educated a little different, so I hear different things. But one of the things I find that's helpful is to look for information from alternative sources besides mainstream media, because over time, during my life, I've learned that I have a difficult time trusting them. And so one of the things that I came across recently, and I go to a website called And We Know, News Creator, and he's an ex-Marine. He shares insight that he gets from other people, that he gets stuff from around the world, and so I found it to be very valuable. But one of the things I find interesting is, and my wife and I talk about this because she gets different reports from different people, the airplane pilots, a lot of them have had blood clots. There's been plane crashes for the last 30 days. A lot of them, and you don't really hear about that in the news, but if you Google plane crashes in the last 30 days, you'll find out more about that. But there's a lot more information about even British Airlines, United Airlines, where at one time United Airlines had a mandate for the vax, and they no longer have that. And so there's some changes, and there's some information. They don't talk about deaths as a result of the vaccine. They don't talk about some of these other things. They don't talk about herd immunity, and they don't talk about these scientists and doctors and medical professionals. And it's kind of interesting, we have quite a few medical professions that have either resigned or quit because they must know something that we don't know. But one of the things I came across, and you may see this in the future, is this is a notice of liability to the superintendent, school board, school principals, teachers, and administrators. The Nuremberg Code codifies U.S. federal law and prohibits forcing and coercing anyone under any circumstances to participate in medical experiments. Then there's also, we are going actually through phase 3 of the clinical trials, and none of this has been approved, but only guaranteed emergency authorization and cannot be mandated, nor can it be, can informed consent be dispensed with. On the back side, and if anybody would like this, you can get hold of me later. The risk associated with COVID-19 vaccine is extremely dangerous to the health and well-being of all children, and this form of treatment unnecessary. Any coercion and pressure tactics used for the students to be vaccinated contravenes the Nuremberg Code, Helsinki Declaration, and use of implied consent and any minor child under the age of 18 is defined in law as gross, contributory, or culpable criminal negligence. And it hereby notifies school staff, school board members, and executives, and any other adults who may have access to our children while under care. This includes the assistance of outside school staff, contractors such as public health, etc. So I also have one for employees, and it's a questionnaire, and these are something that you might want to look into, and you can get hold of me if you would like some of the information. So you can look at it. And so the goal and the objective is to make you aware, because I wouldn't want anything to happen to you long term.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, now it's time for you. First up, we'll start with, this is student representative reports. Aubrey Larson from Pocatello High School. Would you like to, you could sit there, you could stand if you'd like.
Hello, as he said, I am Aubrey Larson from Pocatello High School. A couple of things, as we recognized earlier, the Pocatello High School debate team earned their leading chapter award for the Idaho Mountain River District. And our girls soccer team will be heading to state on Wednesday. Choir had their fall show on Monday. It was really great. I was able to go to that. Our art students have been participating in monthly art walks, and they are very talented. Our Act 1, or our theater department, we are working hard and will be performing Hangman's Noose in November. Our football team beat Preston last Friday, and we are very excited for the football game this Friday against Century. Cross country and swim are both headed to districts, and we should have state qualifiers by the end of the week. And tonight, volleyball plays Preston in district openers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Tenley Ward from Highland High School.
So as he said, I'm Tenley Ward and I'm from Highland High School. Our Highland Key Club successfully completed a blood drive this past week, and they are currently doing a fundraiser for UNICEF. Girls soccer and our girls swim team were chosen as 5A academic state champions, which I think is pretty cool. Girls soccer is seeded #1 in the state and is headed to the state tournament in Boise this weekend. And we have 100 new members that were inducted into the National Honor Society. Highland has had a very fun and eventful start to the school year, and we look forward to all of our upcoming activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Tenley. Okay, and from Century High School, Dominic Samana? Samana. I'll remember that.
Good evening, members and of the board and Superintendent Howell. My name is Dominic Samana. I am ASB co-president at Century High School. My co-president, JJ Anderson, couldn't join us tonight, but she wanted to send her best regards as we fill you in what's been happening at Century for the past couple of weeks. We have recently just passed midterms and our PSATs for our sophomores and juniors, while our freshmen and seniors have had an online virtual learning day. Our Diamondback Dramatics just put on their first play of the year last week, which was a huge success. In our athletic department, our volleyball team is playing districts tonight at 7. We will wish them good luck. Our football team will be hosting the Pocatello Thunder this Friday in the Holt Arena to decide on who's going to the playoffs. Go Century. Our cross-country team has districts this Thursday, and our swim team will have won their most recent meet against Idaho Falls. Our band has been consistently finishing in first to third place in all of their competitions. Now regarding our activities, this week is Kindness Week, and we've made a poster of every student's name on it, and we've put it up in our commons, and we've been doing something different each and every day. Yesterday, we made a huge chain of little pieces of paper, and we put compliments on them from every student in the school, and we hung that in our commons today. Today, we handed out ribbons to each and every student that walked in the school this morning and asked them to give it to other students who didn't have any ribbons. And by the end of the day, everyone had a ribbon either tied to their clothing or their backpacks or whatever they had. Tomorrow at lunch, we'll be playing a game of bingo involving experiences people have or haven't had as Diamondbacks. Thursday at lunch, we're hosting a honey roast in which people will just smother other people and yelling compliments. So that should be fun. And last but not least, on Friday, we're giving every student and a staff member a starburst on a piece of paper reading, "You're a star." Thank you for your time. And as you know, you are invited to any Century event that you want to attend.
Thank you. And you are excused if you'd like to be. Or you can stay with us another couple hours.
Or
Thank
as
you.
long as you like.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda is a Pocatello Community Charter School Annual Financial and Performance Report. This is Michael Mendive and Ali Flores.
I'll go ahead first with my piece. My name is Ali Flores. This is my 15th year as the business manager of Pocatello Community Charter School. So, fiscal year 21 general fund, our ending balance was $1,075,000, which was an increase of close to $120,000 from fiscal year 20. This large increase was due to the governor's coronavirus special distribution of $106,000. I also always like to note that our board has a separate reserve fund that we keep in a different account, and that total right now is $365,000. So that $365,000 is included in what I told you was my ending fund balance. So I want to go over some great things that happened this year. We were able to add HVAC air filtration units to each of our classrooms and our library. We were able to purchase new technology, including Chromebooks. We also utilized the special governor's funds for learning loss to pay for salaries and supplies for a summer school program. This is the first summer school program we've ever had. And I'd like to go over some data that the summer school program resulted in. We had 41 students attend from all grades, so K through 8. And our data from iStation, from just those students, in reading, scores went from 32% proficient to 42% proficient. And math went from 29% proficient to 47% proficient. So this was super successful for us. And now that we've developed the program, we hope to keep it continuing every year, but we will be using the ARP ESSER 3 funds for at least the next couple of years. Not so great things, obviously, COVID. And then our food service program took a big hit. We finally, for the last 2 years, I don't know if you remember, I finally came out of the hole with our food service program. Well, that money's gone. We aren't part of the National Lunch Program, but we felt it was important with the district being able to provide free meals for students. We offered a very reduced rate. So I think we charged $1.25 for a lunch, and it was a brown bag lunch that was delivered to the classroom for kids. But that means that our revenue was extremely low. This year, we're back to more of a normal lunch program, so I'm hoping we can reverse that. And let's see. the current year good. The ESSER funds are definitely helping us out. The current year concerns, substitute shortage, which I know you all are dealing with as well. So we received governor's special distribution for sub-recruitment. We're using those funds to pay our current employees $30 stipends every time they pick up an extra duty. And then we paid all new subs and all current employees that sub a one-time $50 stipend. So we're hoping to continue to at least pay the $30 per extra duty that our staff has been very considerate in chipping in and covering. And that's all I have for the financial side, unless anyone has any questions.
Okay. So I'm Michael Mendev. I think we've all chatted before. So just talking about the academic side, since last we spoke, our school was in hybrid, kindergarten through 8th grade, for most of last year, which was really difficult. It was a challenge. We were lucky and felt good about being able to go back to full-time at the end of the year last year, and our focus this year is being able to stay in person. We know that the hybrid schedule works for some students, but it doesn't work for a lot of students, and that's just the fact of the matter. And so, so this year we're super excited about the new air exchange in the building. I think that probably helps us a lot. We are currently in a mask requirement for every student. We had a mask requirement for all of the staff since the beginning of the school year. We were requiring masks for every student now currently, except for those with a medical exemption. And those strategies for us are important because of the fact that we don't have a lot of subs. We are such a small school that an outbreak would be pretty tough for us to keep the doors open. So, we are happy to have, I think, strong mitigation strategies in place. We are happy at the end of the last year. We were able to resume our adventure program and field work for our school. That's really important, getting kids outside of the classroom, and we were never really worried about what they were doing when they were out of the classroom, because most everything that we do is outside anyhow. But our problem had always been transportation. And so we were able to work with Maggie and develop a plan with the appropriate mitigation strategies that allows us to transport students safely. And so we have been able to resume those things, at least most of those things. We're still not doing overnight trips. But most of the things that we've done in the past, we are able to do again this year. So we're happy about that. We are excited that we actually maintained our staff this year. So this is what I marked as our greatest success for the year. This is the first year since I've been here. This is my 9th year that we haven't had to hire a teacher. And so we, of course, we did have some turnover with parapros, but really happy that we maintained all of our staff. And any year that happens, that's a big plus. We're also happy that we've been able to increase technology at the school pretty significantly. All of the federal money sure helps with that, and so we have lots more Chromebooks in the building. We were able to increase the bandwidth and switch to fiber optics, and so that is a big improvement for us. And of course, as far as the challenge, I think it's pretty on the nose, right? COVID is definitely our greatest challenge. We look forward to when parents at least have an opportunity to vaccinate the 5 through 11 group. That's a big concern currently right now at our school. That means about 80% of the kids don't have the option to vaccinate, and so So that'll be an important step for us for when that day comes, which we're hoping is pretty soon. I know that emergency use authorization has already been submitted, and so we are waiting for that emergency use authorization to be approved. And I think that is what I have to say, unless you have questions for me.
Are you gonna make it another year? You look tired. You all look tired.
I'm tired.
We all.
I am tired. I'm tired. Yes, sir. Yeah, but I think I'll make another year. And as you know, as we slowly return to normalcy, that'll make. I look forward to the day when we're looking back on this, and something, if it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll see you next year.
Yep.
I just want to bring your attention to there's a performance framework that's in your packet there. And what we did is we updated that with the current information there. So you'll be able to see on there, I put some notes down at the bottom for the current status of the school. So you can look at that. But the performance certificate is in effect through June of 2024, and then every year we look at the performance framework to just say, are there any areas that we need to address with the school? And you'll note that they're in the honor range and the operational and financial portions of that framework. And in the academic area, data was not available for the growth, to determine the growth, to give the full picture, but they would be in good standing with the proficiency for the ELA in math. So, and I did note that on there, so you'll be able to see that. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Cordy Fisher with a media report and community relations update.
Hello again. In your addendum is a link to the Communications and Media Report, and we've compiled several articles, pages of articles actually, for your review, and topics of interest include mask requirements in local, regional, and state school districts, contentious tone at school board meetings across the state and nation. We've seen lots of reporting on those. Tonight's is wonderful. I love the tone here with recognitions and celebrating our student and teacher success. Reports on teacher shortages and plans to address those shortages, COVID boosters and new vaccinations. November school board elections reflect their turbulent time, not just here, but across the state and nation. And also related to that, more trustee seats are contested this election cycle than last, the news is reporting. New cases have increased slightly, but we've seen other COVID metrics show signs of improvement, so we're all looking forward to that good news, right? Our live stream board meetings, September 21st regular board meeting had 1,100 views. The special meeting on September 24th had just under 1,000 views. Our regular board meeting on September 28th had 2.2 thousand views, and our October 12th work session last week had 125 views. So you can see the difference between agenda topics and viewership. Right. Our social media over the past 28 days, we have 10,475 followers on Facebook, just under 450 followers on Twitter, about 1,200 followers on Instagram, and 340 subscribers on YouTube. Our website continues to perform really well, so I'm excited to continue working on our new web development project. We had almost 100,000 hits over the last 28 days, and so you can see that that is a really reliable source of information for our constituents. Our home, the top 10 pages continue to be home, elementary foods, school food services, our weekly case status report, now that we're reporting that back in school, that's in the top 3 position. Pocatello High School home, food service administration, Board of Trustees home is in the top 5 or 6. I believe it's number 6. So that gives, people have been going to our board page to find out about what those code of ethics and responsibilities, operating principles. So that's really good news that people are finding that page and learning more about the roles and responsibilities of our board members. as they get set to vote in a couple weeks.
Or now.
Well, or now. I'm going to get to that. Highland High School bill schedule is also in the top 10. Coronavirus resource page, that's still a really reliable source of information for things happening with the school district. Our HR administration and the Pocatello High School bell schedule. So we always like to look at that per month to see where we're at, what information people are going to. It always seems to be cyclical, but it's a good tool for us to continue to review. I wanted to just, from a community relations standpoint, remind you that the Education Foundation has decided to suspend Festival of Trees now that we're reaching November. We've had a couple of calls at the district, so we'll be doing a little bit of communication just to remind people that that decision was announced earlier or later in the spring. So wanted to remind you of that. And then last week we had Advantage Plus Federal Credit Union come and present a check to us for $80,000 for the sponsorship at the gym floors in the high schools. So that money will be split between those high school programs, and we'll be doing a media release on that story as well. And then I also invited you, Highland High School girls soccer and swim, because they are the academic state champions for 5A, representing our district. They are, girls soccer is getting ready to go to state they leave tomorrow, and so they're practicing right now this evening, and same thing with swim, and so hopefully I'll get them to be able to come next month, and then we may have some exciting results from those state championship tournaments also to report. So that is my report. Early voting is now open, so we do have mayoral and city council races in both Pocatello and Chubbuck, as well as 3 school board seats open. As you know, early voting started last week. It will be open until Friday, October 29th, so people have just a little bit over a week to vote early, or election day is on November 2nd. Any questions for me?
So thank you.
Okay, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, next, Lori Cranny. You're gonna tell us all about Head Start.
I am.
Hi, Kathy.
And Ms. Losmack here too. All right, so I'll just share a few of the details. So the program enrollment for the month of September is 166 of the 183 slots. 10 children have withdrawn from the beginning of this school year, and reasons include moving out of the area and COVID. But the program has until December 31st, 2021 to be at full enrollment, and the staff continues to take applications. The attendance for September was 79.2%. The main reasons for absences were sickness, 50.26%, and COVID, 18.06%. For the personnel, there are 14 open staff positions. Most of them are part-time, and they're going to they're going to look at combining some part-time job descriptions to create 1-year temporary full-time positions with the goal of obtaining more applicants and filling those vacancies. So Ms. Losmack and I have been brainstorming some ways to attract people to some of those positions that have typically been hard to fill, and this year even more hard to fill. For the Policy Council, the parent representative elections were held the first week of October. There were some very motivated and excited parents serving this year, and the new Policy Council will be officially seated at the regular November Policy Council meeting on the 11th. And now Ms. Losmack will share some highlights. There's some things in your addendum there there's a memo in your addendum concerning some carryover requests and a non-federal share waiver request.
Okay, thank you. So we are again proposing to submit a carryover request of funds from our Head Start Federal Year 20 budget to our Federal Year 21. And that report is submitted, that request, along with our annual final federal financial report, which is due by the end of the month. But in doing so, it will allow us to take the funds that we had been awarded back at the end of March to get the new facility in place. to be able then to get reapproved, to have those funds, to have access to them, along with some additional unobligated funds under renovation. We put that in just in case we might have needed to have a little bit more funding for cushion, as we don't know yet what all our final price cost might be. So that's in the amount of about 200,000 there. So as you can see, the amount of the original carryover request and the minimum amount we would request would be the $953,422, but more than likely, just to give us that cushion, just to make sure we have adequate funding, would be the $1,153,422 to carry over. Along with that, last year for our program year, we had done a 100% non-federal share waiver that we have to, in carrying over these funds, if we also want that to occur for this fiscal year, we have to ask for an additional waiver on those, particular funds. So any questions that you have? We're trying to move forward with getting things going, with getting this facility in place.
Tell us about the facility. Are the plans drawn?
So, we had to submit one for when we put in the facilities application, which was kind of a basic quote of a 4-classroom facility. That would be all a modular, all under one roof, so it would look like a solid building. And so we'll be using, kind of that basic requirements when we put the bid specs out. And then anxious to see what vendors might be able to offer us and hopefully kind of see some interesting options there.
I'm just curious as how you're getting along minus 14 staff, 14 staff positions. That seems...
How many hats you're wearing?
Today I got to wear 3. It has been a challenge for the program this year, but on the plus side, Head Start, while we are within the District A department, in Head Start, we all are very familiar enough with all the different job duties that we all just pitch in and help where we can. So we have, 3 classroom positions that are open. 2 of them are for our part day, and that tends to be where we're not finding a lot of interest. But even with a full day opening. So we just look to see where we can move staff around so that we always have 2 teaching staff in every classroom at all times, and sometimes we will pull a 3rd one that might be present, and they'll work an hour in one room and then move them over and work in another classroom for another hour, and whatever we need to do.
And they have added some mid-management type of staff so that filling those positions also, new positions that have not been in the program before. So we do have some, some of that is attributed to that.
Do you think that's affecting your enrollment somewhat? That why it's down?
I really don't think that's having an impact on the enrollment. We noticed back last spring when we opened up for applications for this present school year, those numbers were lower than usual, and even throughout the summer and at the beginning of the school year we had a slight surge, but not what we typically see. I think a lot of people are still waiting for our community to get in a better place with the pandemic. And like I said, for those that started the school year with us and then left, there was a number of them because of COVID. They just either were in favor, excited that there was going to be a mask mandate, and when that didn't happen, decided that it was better for them to leave their children at home for another year, and others, when they heard that there might be one, then they just said, well, no, that doesn't work for us either. So We saw the gamut there as well. But I really think it's just waiting for things to calm down is really what we think. We're kind of interested to see by the end of the school year the families who did end up enrolling. Our initial assessment is that we are kind of seeing a different makeup, meaning not as many families in the past who met the 100% federal income guidelines have applied, and we are seeing more that qualify up to that 130. So I think we're seeing families who used to be working and because of the pandemic lost their employment, and now they fell into the category of being eligible for services. So it's kind of interesting so far.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Kathy.
thank you.
Okay, for the 21st Century After School Program, the program did start on October 4th, and the programs are filling up quickly. With Green Acres and Tyhee already near capacity, Jefferson and Wilcox are down as staff members, so they won't reach capacity until we have another person hired. Their partners, which we weren't able to use to the fullest last year, are very active this year. They have the ISU Museum coming once a month. They've already been there for this month, and they reported that the students were so enjoyed the visit from the museum, so they're looking forward to them coming every month. Boy Scouts will start in January, and the 4-H is coming twice a month, including 4-H and robotics. The library still is not back to coming to our sites, but who knows? That could be in the future. But we're anxious to get to full capacity there, but we're on the road. For the Idaho Food Bank, it's in your packet there. We have 438 food backpacks distributed during the month of September, and you'll note that last year the first distribution was in October. So, all right. Thank
Okay,
you.
Well, thank you. Oh, yeah, we can't call you Sue.
No.
Okay.
You can, that's
You can,
okay.
Okay.
Sue had a prior family engagement tonight that she
Okay.
had to attend to. First off, we want to talk about early graduation requests. We have 2 at Highland, one work to save for college and one for religious reasons. So they're all on board and doing well. Like to get those approved. Next is the out-of-state or overnight travel requests. We have a marching band going to St. George, November 4th through the 6th, and cheer camp going in November 19th to the 21st to Nampa.
I had a question.
Yes.
I see that the marching band
Uh-huh.
has 46 students
Uh-huh.
and 12 chaperones, and
Uh-huh.
lodging is an Airbnb. I was really curious.
What we're finding on that Airbnb is that they're segregated, obviously, and the chaperones are in the designated areas, but that we actually could get a better deal with the Airbnb and keep those kids together for bonding.
Is it all one place?
Mm-hmm.
So huge area.
That's from my understanding, but I can get you more information on
I
that.
just,
Yeah. Well, for Airbnbs, they actually rent out, I don't know, in Lava, you can rent out, I don't remember what the building used to be as you're going past.
Graceland Manor thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I just didn't know that.
In Downetta, they actually have a facility similar to that too, and I think girls' basketball used to do that way back in the day, where they rent out the whole thing and had facilities. At Albion, you can rent out the whole, and I did that and did the haunted houses, that was fun. So there's facilities that you can do that with.
Okay.
And that's my understanding, but I can find out more details, but yes, just one place. St. George is a great place to go though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
And we're gonna get on track of report and suspensions each month, and you can kind of look at that data there. You'll be seeing a couple of these, I think, next week, but
I had to ask on this, on one of the elementary schools, there were 5 vaping incidents in elementary school, really, truly.
they have siblings. And I don't know where you saw 5, it's grade 5?
Oh, grade 5.
Yeah.
Maybe that's.
So is that better news?
Yes, that is. I mean, I just saw that 5 vape and
Yeah.
I thought, oh, okay, that
We're-
makes me feel better.
And I think Janie can attest, we meet with the community with Judge Murray every month, and we've been talking in great detail. We thought we had a pretty good answer with some, life skills resources, and then once we dug into a little deeper, it was not something that we would want to promote. So we're working on that in all levels.
Okay.
Did we have any more questions with suspensions? Okay. And then.
I thought it was interesting, just interesting that we had, I think, just 2 middle schools. And, I mean, we didn't get reports from all the schools, so does that mean some had no problems at all this last?
No suspensions.
No suspension?
No suspensions.
Okay.
As I was talking earlier, we had some TikTok stuff going on, so we definitely saw students from those other schools and had conversations, but they were not suspended.
And so we don't see any of the vandalism?
Not on suspension report, but at the school board meeting, no, we handled that through DDRC and court,
that was
Judge
something-
Murray.
Oh, you did?
Absolutely.
Because I thought that was something that might come before the board and we didn't see any of.
No, we felt like it was, we could do some community service, and we are doing some restorative with, they have a full-time restorative circle. And so we're working through that avenue, and we felt like coming in front of me at the DDRC and then going in front of Judge Murray, substantiated for a lot of the little things. There was a couple of big ones, but most of them were little, roll the toilet paper out until it ran out and things like that. That we had community service hours at the school level as well, so they kind of got twice as many.
Yeah, I just was a little surprised the board
Yeah.
didn't see any of those,
Yeah.
that were more severe, so.
The only one was the sink, and it wasn't repairable, let's put it that way. So we didn't have any vandalism in the markings or paint or anything like that. We had some soap dispensers,
Okay.
and we had the one sink knobs and stuff. Nothing that we couldn't, I didn't think, unless you guys want to see them.
The one thing, I talked to an administrator who said it was really hard to identify all the kids who'd been involved. So were you able to do that in the long run?
Not on all of them. We could not get all of the incidents, properly connected with the right. You're right, we don't have cameras in the bathrooms for a reason, and especially in those traveling periods, it's really hard to see who's going in and out at a period of time. But we did get a substantial number of them, and we definitely had support from parents, and like I said, with Judge Murray and probation and so forth, that we're hoping, and we haven't seen any other TikTok challenges being done, so we're hoping that eliminated that
We know they're out there.
challenge. And this month was slap a staff member on the bum, and nobody's said that has done. Yeah, so I'm going with we really made a sound statement that this is not going to be accepted, and we're going to take this very seriously. And I think the parents were mortified that at the DDRCs and in front of Judge Murray, very well supportive.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. The next one is proposed camp requests. We do have quite a few they're excited to have camps because it's been kind of a rough year. So we have some dance camps, some boys basketball camps, and a girls basketball camp up at Highland. Highland has a brand new girls basketball coach, so we did make that adjustment. Kind of got excited about that one, and I think we had to make sure, and thank you for bringing that to our attention, but yes, we have
Oh,
camp
you did.
requests.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions about camps? And the other item that we need to talk about is the Westmark Credit Union sponsor agreement. So
Christian Colonel approached Westmark in support of maybe doing some upgrades to the Highland High School baseball field up there, put a turf down so that it can be multi-use, because they use that area on the outfield, not on the infield, for football practice and so forth. So he did some research, and Westmark was pretty excited about helping him with that project. So Travis and I went down and talked to Westmark, and man, they were awesome. They were excited. They said this is the best contract they've ever seen. They thought we were well prepared. We were very transparent in, that we do already have a 5-year project going on, so that we were definitely getting to some other facilities, and they were just excited to help in any way that they could. So we are going to start off with kind of a priority. They're going to donate $250,000 to the project, and we're going to put a turf field in at Highland High School baseball field, a backstop, and a portable fencing. And that will be our first priorities, and then, depending on funding, some bleachers and things like that.
Is that ball field that's right above the football field?
Exactly.
Next to the,
And they're going to be able to use the press box, concessions, and so forth, and restrooms, because it's close enough to the facility. So they're pretty excited just to have another field that's a varsity level, so that they can have opportunities to bring more teams to town and things like that.
I
We're
didn't know
still utilizing Hallowell.
They use turf in baseball?
well, you can.
Yeah, at Hallowell, we actually started that project, and most of the baseball facilities are starting to go that way. But at Hallowell, the pitching mound and the home plate is turf, and then the baselines to first and third. So it's not all infield turf, but what they found is that when it rains and so forth, you don't have mud or puddles. You don't have to buy the diamond dust. It's really awesome to play on.
So there's enough room up there for that baseball field? They're not going to be hitting?
There is. It's kind of like soccer and IHSA. Here's your minimum, here's your maximum requirements for length and so forth, and it's in the minimum range, so we do have enough. They're hoping eventually down the road, as we move forward, is to fill in the dirt between, if you will, there's a little mound or little dip between the pavement and the field, and they're hoping eventually, even if the dirt donated, the movement of the dirt is like $100,000 to fill that in, but they're hoping to fill that in, and then that would be actually enough space for a field.
As long as we're not putting windows out.
Exactly. Well, we're going to have fences that will definitely help prevent that. And I know that they had on the SIP plan, which I approved last year, for a scoreboard up there, so that's waiting and ready to be put up as well. So
Cool.
we're looking good.
Cool.
This is curious. Why in the midst of this agreement we're not engaging in any act of boycotting goods or services from Israel?
That's a lawyer. Westmark asked that too. And, there must have been a lawsuit, and Amy just wanted to make sure that we were covered. I don't know the history of that. They had the same facial expression. And Amy helped me write this on our behalf. And, I know that there was a reason, and I don't know what that lawsuit is about, though. There was a previous lawsuit, and it was something about the product being from a certain country and stuff like that. I'm not sure.
I did like their educational programs, ideas that they have in there to
Yeah.
do within all the schools.
Yeah.
That I thought was a good thing.
Yes. And I know Ms. Fisher had shared with you, Advantage had did the sponsorship at the high school level. And right after they gave us that big, huge donation, they approached me at trying to do some of the middle schools. And so giving the middle schools some funding a little bit. So that's definitely in the works of looking to see if we can help support them. We don't want to put a bunch of advertisement on our gym floors, but we're trying to do just one. And so that'll be exclusive for a time period. So that's pretty exciting that some things they're happening. CCU reader boards are back in the warehouse. So one is up already at Pocatello High School, and Highland and Century will go up next week. So we're moving forward, and lots of good things are happening. Any questions? No.
Thank you, Tanya.
And I will see if I can find the history of that, but I'm not sure.
It's just that, since when?
Jonathan, you're up. Door and lamp.
Okay, we'll see. Let's see if this is gonna, oh, wait. That'll work. Okay. Good evening, board members. It's that time of year that we have completed our financial statements, and our audit has been completed. And so we wanted to give you some highlights from our fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, and look at our comprehensive annual financial report. Again, I'd like to give a big thank you to our business department, Kate Teeter, our accountant, Michelle Leiby, our accounting technician, and other members of our business department, Renee Bentley and Jolene Smith, for helping put this together. Again, you've seen this before. Again, 4 main sections of this comprehensive annual report. Again, this is probably the most impressive slide, again, that this past year, so fiscal year ending 2020, was the 30th consecutive year that the comprehensive annual report has received awards from the GFOA and the ASBO. Again, if you need those acronyms, they're up there as well. But again, 2 respected bodies of professionals that have reviewed the report and found it in excellent condition, and also very readable to the end users. So wanted to point that out first. And of course, this would be the 31st year after it gets approved, and we submit those to these governing bodies. So to look at some of the highlights, again, the budgetary financial highlights. Let me keep going into this right here. Last year was probably the most difficult budgeting year that I've had in the last 10 years. And that's primarily just because of the different nature of the governor asking for a holdback, but then not putting that into law, but then the legislature not funding it completely. And then there was some operational dollars that were withheld. And so it was difficult for budgeting purposes there. That being said, the end result that is what we can count on. And the fund balance carry forward is very healthy at right at $16.5 million. That is an increase, and I'll show you that here in the next slide. But it represents about 79 days, a little over 2.5 months of operation within the district. Whoops, there we go. And again, from the GFOA, that they say that we should have no less than 2 months of operating revenues or operating expenditures. And so we have 2.5. So we do fit nicely into that recommendation. I do want to mention that this fund balance is a little bit higher or larger than normal due to those federal dollars that we received. And some of those general fund expenditures, were used for those in those. The federal dollars were used for general fund expenditures, so that kind of has held us up a little bit in the general fund. But that gives us some more flexibility. It's a little bit more savings, as in the case of a downturn. This next slide again shows us that the fund balance has been increasing, and we'll be able to, a little bit more flexibility, a little more breathing room in the future. Again, this shows from our general fund where we receive the revenue. Again, 65% roughly, a little under 65% is from the state, but we'll note that 17.89, almost 18% of federal assistance in the general fund was obviously an increase from prior years. Expenditures on the other side, again in the general fund, most of well over half, 60%, is for instruction, 29.31% for support services. So that equals almost 80% is to go to our learners, and that's what that's what we want to see. And the majority of that, those expenditures are in salaries and benefits. 71% is in salary and benefits there. You can see other categories there: capital objects, capital improvements, supplies, materials, and so forth. Okay. Now, the part of the report that makes it comprehensive is this last section, called the statistical section. And so I wanted to highlight some of these these statistics about our communities and about our school districts. And so I know that's kind of small there, but the highlighted sections of that is the increasing property values. In that column, as you look further in that second to right-hand column, that shows our tax rates. And I wanted to comment that the last 5 years, our tax rate has decreased over those last 5 years. And so I think that was very good for our community there. Wanted to show the student enrollment. You can see the last couple years in projecting out is kind of a flat curve there. And this goes back to, if I can read that, back in the early 90s as well. Probably a slight decline since that time, as we would know, but fairly stable in recent years. Okay. Again, wanted to comment on our local building for commercial and residential building permits and values. If you look in that 2021 section, that I got ahead of myself. So this is population versus school enrollment, and this is the unemployment on the right hand side there. This next slide, there we go. This is the one I wanted to highlight again. Building permits, both commercial, residential, received from both Pocatello and Chubbuck cities. Just wanted to comment just how much building, as you all know, has happened over this past year. And again, that is our fiscal year as well. So that'd be July of 20 to June of 2021. In this slide, we kind of wanted to highlight and shout out to our educators. You can see there the educational and the years of experience for each of our teachers. And yes, we do have some new teachers, but I think we have some great experience, very experienced teachers as well. And also those that have sought out additional educational opportunities there at the bottom. That 54.66% of our teachers have either a master's degree or have received 36 credits above their bachelor's. I think that's phenomenal and praiseworthy there. Again, wanted to say special thanks to taxpayers and our communities who support education. So at this time, I'd like to turn the time over to our independent auditor, Doran Lamson, representing Deaton & Company, and he will come and share his audit findings with you.
All right, thank you. My name is Doran Lamson, so thank you, Mr. Ball. And we, Deaton & Company, did perform the independent financial statement audit for the year ended June 30th of 2021. In doing so, I do want to commend the School District 25 for their awards of the GFOA and the ASBO for those certificates of achievement of excellence for that CAFR. In our audit, And I really wish we had some awesome music to just get things going, but it doesn't help the audit report. You know, they're just, it's just gonna come. Anyway, to let you know that the financial statements are the responsibilities of management, and management is responsible to ensure that we have proper controls and procedures in place to provide proper reporting to the financial statements. As auditors, we're responsible to evaluate the risks, the controls and policies, and perform an audit in accordance with government auditing standards. And in doing so, we have performed our audit in accordance with government auditing standards sufficiently to provide our opinion. And our opinion is that these financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. In addition to our report, we did report that the school district financial statements implemented a new GASB 84 fiduciary activities standard, which had no impact or modification in respect to our report. In addition to our opinion on the financial statements, as the government auditing standards requires us also to provide a report on internal controls and compliance within the school district. In doing so, we found we do not provide an opinion on internal controls or compliance, but we let you know if we run into any issues, basically significant or material to the financial statements. In doing so, we did not find any issues that we felt were reportable at the material or significant level. Also, because the school district expends over $750,000 in federal expenditures, they're subject to the single audit, and that's a single audit act that requires us to perform compliance and controls audit over the federal programs that are being run. In doing so, we reviewed the following programs as major programs that we performed our auditing on. And those were the Coronavirus Relief Fund, the Carl D. Perkins Fund, the Education Stabilization Fund under the CARES Act, and Child Nutrition Cluster. And in doing so, we have provided an unmodified report as we did not find any reportable issues of non-compliance or of issues with internal controls. In addition to our reports, auditing standards requires that we disclose to you the significant audit matters during our audit. In doing so, the accounting estimates or significant accounting estimates in the CAFR have to do with the life expectancy of certain assets or fixed assets within the financial statements. We also, as disclosed to you already, the school district implemented the new GASB 84 standard. And just so you're aware, there'll also be a new standard required to be implemented next year, which is GASB 87. Has to do with leases. I'm sure you're all excited to hear about that, but I'm supposed to let you know. We'll make sure Jonathan knows, and that's the key there. He'll be sure to implement that. We're also required to disclose any disagreements with management. Fortunately, we didn't hear of any, and so we are grateful that didn't happen. Also, if there is ever a disagreement between the auditor and management as far as reporting or recording financial transactions, they are allowed to get a third-party opinion, and we're not aware of any of that was needed during our audit. Management has provided us with a representation letter stating that they have provided us with all the information we've requested and has provided access to all the employees and others that we deem necessary for our audit procedures. In doing so, we do want to thank Jonathan and Dr. Howell and Chairman Mr. Madsen for your guys' help in our procedures, as you'd be willing to talk with us and visit with us regarding our concerns or questions throughout our audit. Obviously, we appreciated working with Mr. Reed and we're excited that we had the opportunity to work with Mr. Balls this go around. We realize they both have different methods of procedures and their performance, and we appreciate both of those. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me, I'm going the wrong way. Okay. So, thank you. And that kind of concludes our presentation on that comprehensive annual financial report. Inside of your packet, there is a chart that shows all of the total revenues and total expenditures. And upon your approval, that will be posted in the Idaho State Journal prior to the end of this month. It'll go on Sunday. And so we ask for your approval of that if you feel so inclined. I'm going to move that. Is there any questions on that, or if Mr. Chairman, I'll then proceed to my other items and do that really quickly. Again, the Idaho General Revenue Report just seems to. It's just always surpassing forecasts and estimates by double-digit percentage points. 11% for withholding tax, 10% for sales tax, and even corporate income tax was over 25%. That the revenues are beating forecasts. So again, this is what we're hearing, and I think even the preliminary JFAC committee is even started today, I believe, to start looking at how to spend that as well. So the next item is the ESSER 3, the ARP, American Rescue Plan, I believe is what that ARP stands for. Again, as a reminder, we went over this in detail in the work session, but wanted to just to highlight again that the school district received $19 million, and we sent out a survey to our patrons to see the priority list of how we should do that, how we should spend the money, and staff retention came back as the highest priority, and so some of those key highlights that we wanted to include again was an extra duty stipend to be paid out in November for those employees that have worked at least 100 days. And I think there's an addendum at the very end of your chart that kind of lists those: $1,000 for classified, and $2,000 for certified, and $2,500 for administrators. And then those that are new to the district, after they've worked that 100 days, there would be a date in the spring that they would be paid as well. The other kind of the highlight in that section is, as we're hopefully not going to receive, but just in case we do receive a large insurance premium increase, that some of these dollars can be used to offset that increase, so that full increase wouldn't be passed to the employees. And so again, other categories in curriculum, loss of instruction, learning loss. Again, a little bit spent on technology. Wanted to highlight that again, that we feel it's important for these large group meetings that we've had in the past, and realize that we need to do some better sound and lighting in some of our high school auditoriums. So some of this federal dollars would be spent on that. Wanted to also highlight again for our elementary schools that they would receive some additional playground equipment, as well as some increased bleacher seating at some of our outside stadiums that would help there as well. And also we wanted to mention that again, we'll be watching the state legislature and seeing what they do with their state appropriations. As you remember, last year they kind of held back a little bit because we were getting all these federal dollars. We're anxious to see if they're going to do that same thing. And so we can, because that money these federal dollars can be used to backfill if it's a little bit short coming from the state. Any questions on that? Again, our recommendation is that this document that is fluid and changing, and that we can at least get initial approval on that, and then any major changes would come back to the board for your approval, at least once a year until this money has been spent. The lastly is just a request, an annual request to start our capital improvement plan for the 22-23 school year. And it seems like it's early, but even before, it was earlier this week, well, no, it was the end of last week, that buses is the new thing that is now taking about 2 months longer to get buses. And so with your approval, we will start almost all of our bidding processes a little bit sooner, just because, as we all know, that some equipment supplies are harder and harder to get. And so with your approval, we'd like to start that process, and of course these bid awardings will come to you for your approval, but just give you a heads up, it's going to be a month to 2 months earlier than normal, specifically with the buses. So
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. Carl, Employee Services.
All right, I'm gonna make mine short tonight so we can get out of here, huh? All right, just 3 short items on my section of the agenda tonight. Just to let you know, IC has done, or at least the bulk of it is done. We submitted last Friday, and so we have a 2-week reprieve until we have to start that process again. Now that the audit is done, we also have to submit our financial information to the state, and that's also done through IC. So Jonathan and I will work over the next week or so to get that prepared and ready to go and sent off. As far as technology, and we did a pretty good outline of what they did all summer last board meeting, so I won't rehash that, but they are continuing to replace their wireless access points throughout the district schools, and the high schools are done right now, except they can't get to the high points in the gymnasiums, so they're going to have to work on getting some help getting a scissor lift in there to get those high ones done in the high schools. Item B under my section of the agenda was of course the student enrollment information. No surprises there. We are anxiously awaiting the digestion of the data we just sent to the state this last week, so we can see kind of where our ADA might lie, so we can start running some of those reports. I didn't have an opportunity to run them for you tonight because they're still, like I said, digesting that data. And so we will hopefully over the next several weeks have an idea where our ADA and our units might be falling, and we'll have a good indication over the next several weeks. Now, the IC submission we do for next month actually locks in our salary apportionment. So that's an important date we have to remember. And item C, Wellness Dashboard Report, you can see there that the data's all over the board, especially when it comes to
Put some gold teeth in.
the loss experience. Yeah, you noticed that one, huh? Yeah, gold teeth. The big one, medical is down, which was quite a surprise based upon what our experience was a month ago and the previous month. In talking to the Delta Dental folks, it happens to be the way that we pay in arrears. So we're paying for the month of September later. And so it's a bookkeeping thing, why it looks like it's way out of whack. And so it'll look much better this next month. Okay. We really didn't spend a lot on gold teeth, from what I understand. Although we have 2 or 3 people that we do know that spend a lot of time at the dentist, and we won't pick on them tonight. But yeah, we did notice that on ourselves, and we asked the question, but it happens to be just an accounting way when we send our bill, or our money to them, and the way the bills flow in. So with that, unless you have other questions or comments, I will conclude my report tonight.
I just wondered, last month, it said loss experience, the goal, it was way over.
It was way, yeah, it was big, it
And
was a
then,
large one.
It's somewhat down this time, so did they get averaged out over time, or how does that work?
This just happens to be when the bills hit the insurance company. So, if,
But overall, they get averaged.
overall, they will get averaged, yes.
Okay.
Ms. Gebhardt, they will get averaged over time, and when it comes down to our negotiations with the insurance company next spring, they will look at the entire year and how much did you contribute towards your insurance package for the year and how much came out, and that'll be the big number we look at.
Okay, thank you. No human resources again. Okay, that's okay. Next month. Superintendent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. 4 items for you tonight. First up is the board calendar. And of course, tonight, board meeting, and we had our student representative orientation before that. That was a nice visit with those young people. We're excited to have them be part of our meetings moving forward for the remainder of the year. Next up, October 27th, Key Communicators. Mrs. Fisher and I and Cabinet actually participated this last week, and we built a nice outline, so we'll be ready to go for that next week, as well as some student discipline hearings potentially later that afternoon. On October 28th, you can see a curriculum committee meeting. Mr. Orr will be running that. November 2nd, of course, is the election day. And we have a school board visit scheduled for Idaho, Highland, and Wilcox, and you should receive those various assignments on your Outlook calendars. Next up, November 10th, again, student discipline hearings just up in the rotation every 2 weeks on Wednesday evenings. And November 11th is Veterans Day, where we always have assemblies to recognize our veterans. And then also an Education Foundation meeting with Mrs. Fisher late afternoon. November 16th, again, picking up District Curriculum Committee. And then on the 17th, 18th, and 19th, you'll see ISBA Convention hosted in person and virtually. So I believe a number of us will be headed to Boise over the course of those days. And then we have Thanksgiving break. So no work session for you, just because everything has been moved up on the calendar with our convention next month.
So they're not doing it till the 17th? Usually they do it the day after election.
No, it's the notice that came out is the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah, it was.
They've gone back and forth between that second and third week in November.
It may depend on when they can get accommodations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
right now it's for the 17th.
Yeah, if there's a conflict,
I saw that in
The slate.
yeah, you can just let us know, Mrs. Greener. Next up, actually, these 3 really were covered last week very well. Mr. Manson led the discussion on the board's strategic goals, operating principles, and code of ethics, and we chatted about that and felt pretty comfortable. So the board may have further discussion tonight on one of or any of those items. And so I will just turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody want to talk?
Yeah, we're good.
We did it last week, right? Yeah.
Well, and we've been living with them.
Yes, yes,
I read through them all again and thought they still were really good.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
Okay, now it's time for public comment for items that are pertinent to the agenda, and I have not received any, so we'll move forward. Let's see now. Action items. First item of business is to approve the Head Start budget carryover and non-federal share waiver request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the Head Start budget carryover and non-federal share waiver request as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. Next item is to approve this early graduation request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the early graduation request as presented.
Second.
Second? You did? Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. The next item of business is to approve the out-of-state overnight travel request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the out-of-state overnight travel request as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. Next item is to approve the camp request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the camp request as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion is passed. Next item is to approve the Westmark Credit Union sponsorship agreement. Is there
I
a motion?
move we approve the Westmark Credit Union sponsorship agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next item is to accept the comprehensive annual financial audit report and certify the annual financial condition statement. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board accept the comprehensive annual financial audit report for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 2021 and certify the annual financial condition statement as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion has passed. The next item is to approve the SRA 3 budget. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the proposed SRA 3 budget as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. The next item of business is to grant permission to bid the 2022-2023 SIP-related projects. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board grant permission to bid 2022-2023 SIP-related projects as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next item is to adopt the board's strategic goals. Is there a motion?
I move we adopt the board's strategic goals.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next item is to adopt the board operating principles for the 2021-2022 year.
I hereby move that the board adopt the board operating principles for 2021-2022 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. Final item of business is to adopt the code of ethics for the school board members. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board adopt the code of ethics for school board members as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. And that concludes this meeting, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion is passed, and we are adjourned.